Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to my Winter 2020 box office predictions. And today, we're going to be talking about the much hyped 1917. We're going to go over the pros and cons of 1917, so let's get to it. Pros. When it comes to competition, I don't think 1917 is anything to worry about. I mean, sure, there's Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker has been number one for 3 weeks. But at the same time, Rise of Skywalker's grosses haven't exactly been stellar, at least in comparison to the other sequel trilogy movies. Not only that, that movie's been dropping like a stone, which I feel is due to overall just apathy from both fans and critics. And another thing is that movie's been number one for so long that people are just starting to get desperate. They're just like, please, give us something good, something new, something interesting. And I feel like 1917 is going to be that movie. And it's pretty much guaranteed that 1917 is going to kick Rise of Skywalker out of the number one spot. And besides the Rise of Skywalker, what else does this movie have to face? Little Women? Because I'm sure Little Women in 1917's audiences are going to cross over, clearly. But obviously not. But yeah, every other movie coming out not only this weekend, but that's already in theaters is pretty much a non-factor. So 1917 has the market all to itself, which is great. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, the awards hype. Now, it's very clear this movie wants to win awards. That's what every Oscar bait movie wants. They want to win awards in order to get prestige, in order to be considered legendary. That's what they all want. And unlike many awards movies, this year, at least I guess last year, is that 1917 not only has awards hype, but it has general hype as well. But awards hype doesn't hurt. Because what happens is awards hype leads to general hype, which leads to great box office. And getting nominated for stuff, is good. Winning stuff is more important. And that's what's been going on with 1917. Because recently the Golden Globes happened. You all probably heard about it, mostly because of Ricky Gervais's opening monologue, which was awesome. But also because 1917 won some major awards that night. It won Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Director. I mean, those are pretty significant, especially Best Motion Picture Drama. I mean, it was going up against movies like Joker, which was, one of the biggest events of 2019. So the fact that 1917 beat Joker, it says a lot. And you're probably like, oh, Malik, awards don't mean all that much. I mean, it's just a trophy. What's it gonna do? Well, you can now put that type of stuff on advertisements. You can now say like, oh, this movie won this on commercials. And then people look at those and be like, wow, this movie's winning a lot of awards. It must be pretty darn good. I think I want to go see that. And that's what happens. It's a cycle. The awards hype leads to general hype, and then it leads to big box office. That's just how it works. And so far, it's working beautifully for 1917 because ever since that Golden Globes win, ticket sales have just skyrocketed. They've increased significantly, according to Fandango. So, yeah. That's pro number two. Pro number three. The history of January Oscar movies. Now, January doesn't have a great reputation as a whole because a lot of movies tend to just get dumped there because the studio just either doesn't know what to do with it or they don't have much faith in it at all. But that's different when it comes to awards movies because most of the time an awards movie will open in limited release on Christmas Day or earlier in Christmas, which is exactly what happened with 1917. Opened Christmas Day, opened in 11 theaters. It has made how much? Is this just 11? Yeah. It's made over $2 million, $2.6 million in just 11 theaters. Ideally, most movies release in 4 theaters or 5 theaters, but, for 11 theaters, $2.6 million is really good. But anywho, Yeah, you release a limited release around Christmas, and then you get like a big per theater average or a solid one, so that gets attention. And then by the time the movie comes out in January, like sometime in January, it has awards hype, awards wins, and then that general hype, and then the movie just explodes in January, while most normal January movies don't. There have been plenty of examples of that over like the last decade or so. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. There was Zero Dark 30, there was Lone Survivor, the huge one, American Sniper. That was amazing. That was an amazing box office story. The Revenant, Hidden Figures. Like, those are the ones that come off the top of my head. But yeah, all those movies came out in December in limited release. Went wide in, January, did fantastic. And I feel the same will happen with this because general audiences are pretty excited about this because it looks really freaking good. Just like all the other movies I listed. And yeah, that history, with Oscar movies in January is definitely going to help this as well. Well, another pro is the director, Sam Mendes. You may know him for trying to look up his name. The biggest thing he's ever done was he directed one Skyfall back in 2012. That movie became the biggest James Bond movie ever. Made $1 billion. No other James Bond movie has ever done that. And sure, he made Spectre, which wasn't very good, but it still made money. And way before then, like his first big movie was American Beauty, which won a whole bunch of awards and made a whole lot of money too. So he has prestige to his name and blockbuster success to his name, which is a combination, which is like a fantastic combination. And, the cast is pretty good. I mean, the only two notable names in here are Colin Firth, who you may know from Kingsman and some other movies. King's Speech was a big one. And, of course, my boy, where is he? My boy Benedict Cumberbatch in Doctor Strange 2. I heard Doctor Strange 2 is going through some problems. Like the Scott Derrickson, the director, left. That doesn't sound very good. Hopefully they get a decent replacement, but I'm worried about that movie a little bit. But having those two there definitely helps. Definitely does. And another thing, another pro I just thought of. War movies are very popular. Especially like in recent memory. I mean, any type of war movie, World War II or like an Iraq War movie, something like more recent. Even some of the movies I listed off, like Lone Survivor, American Sniper, are based off war in some way or another, and were both mega hits. There are some movies like in the past, like Inglourious Bastards, Saving Private Ryan, even recently Midway, despite looking like a dud, and it probably still was a dud, it at least opened at number one, which when everybody thought it was going to be a disaster. So, war movies are popular. They just are. So, yeah. That's all the pros. There's not too many cons to think of, except the fact that this one, unlike a lot of war movies, this is a World War One movie. Those aren't very common. Most of the time it's World War II because a lot more stuff happened during that war. And movies like, Inglourious Bastards and Saving Private Ryan and trying to think of others. Pearl Harbor was a huge one. But yeah, like World War II, I guess, is just an easier subject to do because everybody knows what happened. But World War One is very scarce. The only two movies worth talking about from World War One are Wonder Woman and War Horse. Wonder Woman, I can't compare the two because Wonder Woman is a superhero movie that happens to be set in World War One. It's not a war movie, so comparing those two is just ridiculous. I guess War Horse is a better comparison, I guess. Because, that movie had a prestigious director, Steven Spielberg. But that movie was kind of forgotten by the general public. And it was a bit more small scale than this because, really, for War Horse, the main draw was the horse, pretty much. You saw that horse on all the friggin' posters. This movie has a really interesting gimmick where, like, it's like, it looks like it's all done in one shot. I think that's a great gimmick to have because not too many movies are done in one shot. It's usually, and a lot of movies are like edited like really poorly, just cut after cut after cut, and it looks sloppy. The fact that this movie has the illusion of being one cut, it's a lot more interesting than Warhorse. So sorry, Warhorse fans, that's just the truth. So overall, prediction wise, opening weekend. I mean, the official tracking is like, oh, we'll make like in the 20s, but I think we'll do better than that. I think we'll be in the 30s, like 30 to 35 million. I think is pretty good for January. And overall, probably reach 100, 110, maybe even more if like the awards hype really kicks in. Once it really kicks in, then this movie's gonna do amazing. But until then, I don't know. Especially if it gets nominated for some serious Oscars, then that box office is going to just boom. But yeah, that's my thoughts on 1917. That's what I think it's gonna do. So what's next coming out? I forget. Trying to get to the one release schedule. God, I hate ads. Ads are the worst. All right, next up, we got to talk about Just Mercy and then Like a Boss and then Underwater. Yeah. I mean, Just Mercy, that's another awards movie. I don't think it's going to do very well. And Like a Boss and Underwater are pure January movies. They just scream January. So, yeah. That's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment. You want to go check out past predictions. I have like a holiday 2019 playlist. Go check that out. And I recently just did at least I finished filming my December 2019 recap. I'll have that out soon enough. So you can go check that out when it's ready. And yeah, that's it. And I am out.